Picture this. You're out in the world, maybe on a day when everything seems to be going your way. The sun is shining, you're feeling confident, and you decide to treat yourself to a little break at your favorite cafe. The place is buzzing with energy, people chatting, baristas calling out orders, the comforting aroma of fresh coffee in the air. You find a spot, settle in, and take that first satisfying sip, feeling like you truly belong in this lively scene. But then, out of nowhere, it happens. Your foot snags on a chair leg, and in what feels like slow motion, your coffee cup tips. The liquid arcs through the air, splattering across the floor, and, to your horror, right onto a stranger's pristine white sneakers. Instantly, your heart sinks. The cheerful noise of the cafe seems to fade away, replaced by a deafening silence. You're convinced that every single person has stopped what they're doing to stare at you, their eyes filled with judgment and disbelief. Your cheeks burn with embarrassment, you can feel the heat rising to your face, and you wish you could just vanish, to melt into the floor and escape the humiliation. In that moment, it feels like the entire cafe is united in watching your every move. You imagine whispers, stifled laughter, and people exchanging glances about your clumsy mistake. The embarrassment is so intense, it's almost physical. You fumble for words, barely able to stammer out an apology to the stranger whose shoes you've just ruined. Your hands shake as you try to clean up the mess, wishing you could somehow turn back time and erase the whole incident. The regret is overwhelming. You replay the moment in your mind, thinking of all the ways you could have avoided it. If only you'd been more careful, if only you'd chosen a different seat, if only you could disappear. But here's the surprising truth. Most people in that cafe didn't even notice what happened. They're too busy with their own lives, their own conversations, their own worries and joys. And if anyone did notice, the moment passed for them almost instantly. They went right back to their coffee, their friends, their phones, your mishap barely a blip on their radar. That intense, almost paralyzing feeling of being under a spotlight? It's not reality. It's a trick your mind plays on you, making you believe you're the center of attention, when in truth, you're not. This is something we all experience at some point, a cognitive bias that convinces us our mistakes are far more noticeable than they really are. But the good news is once you understand this, you can start to let go of that fear. Psychologists even have a name for this phenomenon, and learning about it is the first step toward freeing yourself from its grip. You're not alone in feeling this way, and there are ways to move past it. So let's dive deeper into why our minds play this trick on us, and discover how you can break free from the imaginary spotlight and live with more confidence and ease. This illusion is called the spotlight effect. It's a psychological phenomenon that tricks us into believing that everyone around us is paying close attention to our every move, every word, and every little mistake. In reality, most people are far too preoccupied with their own thoughts and concerns to notice the small things we obsess over. It's our tendency to overestimate how much others notice our mistakes or appearance. We imagine that every awkward moment, every fashion mishap, or every slip of the tongue is under a microscope, being analyzed by everyone around us. You feel like a giant spotlight follows you, highlighting every flaw for the world to see. It's as if you're on stage and the audience is watching your every move, waiting for you to mess up. A stain on your shirt, you're sure everyone noticed. Stumbled over a word, you might feel like you've just broadcasted your embarrassment to the entire room. Even the smallest blunder can feel enormous when you're caught in the spotlight effect. You replay it endlessly, convinced your colleagues are judging you. The memory loops in your mind, growing bigger and more significant with each replay, even though it's likely that no one else even remembers it happened. But here's the reality. While you're the main character in your own story, you're just a background extra in everyone else's. Most people are too busy thinking about their own lives to focus on yours. People are busy with their own lives, worries, and insecurities. They're wrapped up in their own thoughts, often experiencing the same spotlight effect themselves. Your small mistake is barely a blip on their radar, if it registers at all. Most people are far more forgiving and less observant than we give them credit for. The spotlight is just a projection from your own mind. It's a trick of perception, not reality. Realizing this is liberating. It frees you to live more authentically. When you let go of the illusion that everyone is watching, you can focus on what truly matters to you and move through life with greater confidence and ease. Still skeptical? Psychologists at Cornell University put the spotlight effect to the test. In the famous Barry Manilow t-shirt study, a student wore an embarrassing shirt into a room of peers. The student guessed half the room noticed. In reality, less than a quarter did. Most people were too absorbed in their own world to care. The feeling of being scrutinized was just an illusion. This experiment shows the gap between our perception and reality. We feel on stage, but most of the audience isn't even looking. The spotlight is far dimmer than we think. Why do we fall for the spotlight effect? It's because we experience life from our own perspective. Our thoughts and feelings are vivid to us, so we assume they're vivid to everyone else. This self-focus is a cognitive shortcut, anchoring our judgments on our own experience. Evolution also plays a role. For our ancestors, group acceptance meant survival. Our brains became wired to care deeply about social judgment. Today, a coffee spill won't get us cast out, but our ancient instincts still sound the alarm. The spotlight effect is not a personal failing, it's a quirky feature of being human. Understanding this helps us let go of unnecessary anxiety. The spotlight effect can fuel social anxiety, creating a vicious cycle. You feel watched, become self-conscious, act awkwardly, and then believe everyone's noticing, reinforcing your anxiety. This is the ego trap. Even negative attention feels better than being invisible. Our minds choose the drama of the spotlight over the reality of being just another face in the crowd. This cycle can limit your life, making you avoid risks, questions, or new experiences. Breaking free starts by challenging the assumption that people are thinking about you. Remember the Barry Manilow study. Remind yourself, this isn't life or death. Most people have already forgotten your mistake. Questioning your anxious thoughts is the first step to freedom. The ego trap loses power when you see through the illusion. Here's the most freeing truth. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you imagine. Most people are far too busy starring in their own stories, wrapped up in their own thoughts, worries, and dreams. We all walk through life as the main character of our personal movie, and everyone else is just a passing extra in the background, the person whose sneakers you splashed. For a moment they noticed the stain, maybe felt annoyed, but then their mind jumped to their next errand, their phone buzzing, or what to have for lunch. Just like that, your small mistake faded from their memory. Your colleagues at work, they're not replaying your awkward comment or missed deadline. They're preoccupied with their own deadlines, their own anxieties about performance, and their own ambitions. Everyone is carrying their own invisible load. Think about it. When you see someone trip or make a small blunder, do you dwell on it for hours? Of course not. You might smile, maybe offer a hand, and then your mind moves on. We're all too busy living our own lives to keep score of others' slip-ups. You're busy with your own life, your own playlist, your own plans for the evening. Everyone else is too. The world is full of people absorbed in their own thoughts, not scrutinizing yours. This realization is empowering. It means you're free to make mistakes, to be imperfect, to try and fail and try again. You don't have to perform for an audience that isn't really watching. The audience you feared doesn't exist. Most people are too busy worrying about their own performance to judge yours. This isn't a license to be inconsiderate. It's permission to be gentle and compassionate with yourself. You can forgive your own missteps and move forward. Let go of the need for constant approval. Live for yourself, not for imaginary critics or the fleeting opinions of strangers. When you stop seeking validation from others, you start to find it within. When you internalize this, the pressure lifts. You'll notice a new lightness in your step, a sense of possibility opening up. Life feels less like a performance and more like an adventure. Step out of the imaginary spotlight and into your own life. Embrace your story, flaws and all, and let yourself shine for you. Knowing about the spotlight effect is one thing. Combating it requires practical tools and strategies. Try the 10-10-10 rule. When you feel embarrassed or anxious, ask yourself 3 simple questions. How will I feel about this in 10 minutes? The sting will fade, and you'll likely move on. In 10 weeks? It'll be a distant memory, maybe even something you laugh about with friends. In 10 years, chances are you won't remember it at all, and it won't matter. This exercise shrinks your current catastrophe down to size, making it feel much less overwhelming. Most social anxieties are temporary and meaningless in the grand scheme of your life. The 10-10-10 rule helps you regain perspective and calm, reminding you what truly matters. Use it anytime you feel the spotlight burning and watch your worries shrink away. Another way to dismantle the spotlight effect is to become an observer. Next time you're in public and feel self-conscious, people watch with a mission. Try to notice others' small mistakes or imperfections. You'll find it's hard to spot them, and when you do, you don't judge harshly. Usually you feel empathy or indifference, then move on. This is proof. Others react to your mistakes the same way. By observing your lack of judgment, you realize the world isn't a courtroom. You're not on trial. This practice helps you internalize the truth and let go of self-consciousness. The most transformative tool is shifting your attention outward. Social anxiety thrives on self-focus, monitoring every word and move. Instead, focus on connecting with others and your environment. Ask questions, listen deeply, and engage with the world around you. When you're truly present, you don't have bandwidth to worry about yourself. Try grounding exercises. Notice what you see, feel, and hear. This pulls you out of self-criticism and into the present moment. With practice, social interactions become opportunities for connection, not performance. You become more present, engaged, and authentic. Forget yourself, and find your real self. The spotlight effect can feel like an invisible cage, but you hold the key. Realizing nobody is scrutinizing you is profoundly freeing. Your life is your canvas, yours to paint boldly, with mistakes and all. Don't let imaginary critics dictate your masterpiece. The world is too busy to be your full-time judge. Embrace your imperfections and quirks. They add character. Live in full color, for your own joy, not for approval. Mastering your mind is an ongoing practice. The 10-10-10 rule, becoming an observer, and focusing outward are powerful tools. Keep learning. Keep growing. Your most authentic self is waiting. Step out of the imaginary spotlight and into your own light. The stage is yours.